you guys talking about Asbury and that whole movement behind it, man, it actually, like, that whole thing has got me so excited. Obviously, I'm on the West Coast here in Washington, so I wasn't able to make it out there. But just watching from afar, I think this conversation about deconstruction is honestly perfect to lead into that, because so many young people, especially, it's not all young people, but a lot of the young people that we're talking about deconstruction, it's become this boogeyman word where, it seems like all bad things, if someone's questioning their faith or if they're doubting or they're having these struggles, it just automatically gets, tossed out there as deconstruction. And there are versions of deconstruction where people lose their faith. No, there's no doubt about that. But there's also a version of deconstruction where these young people are questioning the institution of the church. And it's because they have seen case after case after case of abuse that has been coming out, of things that are happening in the church or, in these Christian organizations. And I think the thing I love about Asbury, and I'm sorry I'm talking so much right out the gate, but I get so pumped because there were so many cases of really famous celebrity pastors wanting to come to Asbury, and they didn't allow them to be out there. It was led by students. It was this genuine move of God that it wasn't about any one person. It was about Jesus. And I think people are just hungry for those types of experiences. I honestly think that if you interviewed every single person that went to Asbury, I'd bet you that in interviewing them, whether they called it that or not, that there's probably a large percentage of those people that have been deconstructing or have deconstructed, that were just hungering and thirsting for an authentic move of God. I think especially young people, but the church today, I think, is just disillusioned with the fog machines and the big lights and the big show. I think that, people are finally realizing, man, that none of that stuff serves us. And I love that it was led by young people, especially, and almost like the nameless. Like, we don't know who is leading it and who's the main charge. And, there's a handful of folks that we know, have led worship or have given testimony or whatever. But the majority of it is these people are going to Asbury because the institution of the church within this country, especially, right? It's the only thing we can talk about. I want to be really careful about that too. I'm not talking about the global capital C church. I can't say that a church in Indonesia is having the same problems that we are, right? But the issues that we have here, the institutions that we have here have revolved around power and around influence and around politics in such a way that people are like, man, if that's all the church is, I don't need that in my life. But then they have this experience where they get called to go to this thing, either as a participant or someone that's been leading it, and they have this genuine move of God in their life, and it changes them forever. That move of God in the ocean, people getting baptized, like, those are moments that those are cornerstone moments that people never turn away from, right? Those are the types of moments that change you forever. And hopefully, if any believers are watching this, or the believers that are watching this, I should say, we should all have that moment that we can recollect about how the Lord captured our heart. And I guarantee you, it wasn't because of the celebrity pastor that came in, or the $100,000 sound system, or the, whatever consumer type thing that we think is going to draw our attention. We were drawn by the Lord, and the Lord called our name, and he just asked us to respond to it. And so what I think is really beautiful is that this Asbury movement, I think revival, someone in my small group said it the other night, and it really impacted me. You can't have revival without it being dead first, right? That's a statement. And when you think about it, these people that are going to Asbury, that are hungering and thirsting for a move of God in their own life, are feeling like they need something revived within them. And the very easily could be because of the disillusionment or the hurt that they've experienced in church. And they've paralleled that with saying, I got hurt by the church, therefore I got hurt by God. And you go, no, like, you were hurt by broken and sinful people that may be in leadership or may not be, or whatever, from your experience. But God wants to redeem that. And not only does he want to redeem that in your own life, I believe he wants to redeem the institution as well.